Have you ever taken a late-night bus ride and felt like someone was watching you? This story happened to my friend Emily back in 2016, just outside Portland, Oregon. She worked the night shift at a small diner near the highway. One night, her shift ended late, around 11:45 p.m. She missed her usual ride, so she caught the last bus home. The bus was almost empty. Just two men sitting all the way at the back, and an old woman near the driver. Emily sat somewhere in the middle, by the window, watching the fog roll past the streetlights. At first, everything felt normal. The hum of the engine, the flickering lamps outside, the tired driver tapping his fingers on the wheel. But then she noticed something strange. The two men at the back. They hadn't moved. Not once. No blinking. No breathing. Nothing. When the bus passed under a light, she saw their faces. Pale, expressionless. Eyes wide open, staring at nothing. Her chest tightened. She tried not to look. Then, the old woman turned slowly and whispered, "Don't look back." Emily froze. The old woman's voice was soft but firm. "When we crossed the bridge," she said, "close your eyes and hold your breath." Emily didn't understand, but something told her to listen. The bus started to cross the bridge. Emily shut her eyes and held her breath. And then she heard it, a whisper, right behind her. "Emily." It sounded like a man's voice, cold, slow, so close she could feel it on her neck. Her hands trembled. She didn't move. Then silence. When she finally opened her eyes, the old woman was gone. The two men gone too. Only the driver remained. His hands gripped the wheel tight, his eyes shaking in the mirror. He said quietly, "You saw them too, didn't you?" Emily couldn't speak. She just nodded. The driver whispered, "They ride with me sometimes. Same two men, same old lady. They died years ago, when this bus fell off that very bridge." Emily quit her job the next day. She never rode that bus again. So if you ever find yourself alone on a late-night bus ride, and someone whispers your name from behind, don't look back, because some passengers never got off. Thank you, Midnight Snacks, for sharing my story. I just hope people listening tonight learn to be careful on their rides. Hi, good evening. You can call me Ethan, and I'm from Ohio. I'm actually a new listener of your channel. I've only been listening for a few days, but your stories really got me hooked. I never thought I'd send one myself, but something happened to me years ago that I can't forget. Back in 2018, my wife and I moved to a quiet neighborhood just outside Columbus. It was peaceful, clean streets, friendly people, and quiet nights. Everything felt perfect, except for one house. It stood right across the street from us. Old, abandoned, out of place. The paint was peeling, the grass was overgrown, and the windows were covered with old wooden boards. The neighbors said no one had lived there for more than 10 years. But every night, around 3 in the morning, I'd see a faint light flicker from one of the upstairs windows. At first, I ignored it. I thought it was just a reflection, or maybe some kids sneaking in. But then I realized it always turned on at the same time. 3 a.m. sharp. One night, my dog started barking like crazy. I got up half asleep and looked out the window. And that's when I saw her, a woman, standing behind that window in the old house. Her skin looked unnaturally pale. Her long black hair fell straight down, hiding most of her face, and she was staring directly at me. I froze. I couldn't move. She didn't blink, didn't even shift. She just watched me. Then, the moment I turned on the light in my room, she vanished. The next morning, I told my wife what I saw. We even called the police. They checked the place and said it was empty. No footprints, no signs of anyone living there. That night, the light came on again, so I set my phone by the window to record. The next morning, I watched the footage. For hours, nothing happened. But at exactly 3:15, the light flickered on again, and there she was, standing in the same spot. Only this time she was smiling, and her eyes weren't looking at my house anymore. They were looking straight into the camera. Later that night, I woke up to 3 slow knocks on our front door. When I looked through the peephole, no one was there. But across the street, that same upstairs light was glowing again. We moved out a week later, but before we left, I looked one last time across the street. She was still there, in the same window, still smiling, still waving. Thank you for reading my story. I'm still a new listener, but your channel made me feel brave enough to finally share this. If anyone else ever lived on that street, I just hope they never waved back. Hi, I'm Steve, and tonight I'm sharing one of the most terrifying nights I've ever experienced on the graveyard shift. It was past midnight when I clocked in at the old warehouse on the edge of town. The building was half lit, the parking lot mostly empty. Everyone else had gone home. It was just me, the hum of machinery, and the occasional drip from a leaky pipe. The fluorescent lights flickered, casting long shadows. I walked the aisles, checked doors, and monitored the security cameras. Around 2 a.m., something caught my eye on camera 6, the northern aisle. A shadow passed behind the racks, too fast to identify. I rewound the footage. It was gone. I grabbed my flashlight and walked the aisle. The air felt colder. Silence pressed in. The shelves were undisturbed, but my heart pounded. Then the intercom crackled. "You shouldn't be here." The warehouse was empty. I pressed end, but it whispered again, closer. I gripped my flashlight and followed the faint arrow formed by toppled boxes pointing to the maintenance corridor. The door was cracked open, darkness stretching inside. At the far end, I saw her, a small figure, a girl, maybe 8 or 9. Pale gray skin, hollow eyes. She tilted her head and whispered again, "You shouldn't be here." I stumbled back, almost dropping my flashlight, and ran toward the main area. On camera 6, she appeared again, raising a tiny hand before vanishing. I tried to call for help, no signal. The warehouse radio was dead. Footsteps echoed above me, across the rafters. I sprinted to the south loading bay, which began to lift on its own. I slipped out, ran into the rain, and didn't stop until I reached my car. The next day, my manager said, "Night shift? There hasn't been a night shift here for years." I never returned. Sometimes when I drive past that warehouse, I swear I see a shadowy figure staring at me from the back window, whispering,